I'm going to show you how to turn this ham into these pieces of glazed Christmas ham candy. Let's shake up Christmas this year by making Christmas ham burnt ends. Easy enough to do. Just grab a sharp knife. I start by slicing my ham into 25mm thick pieces. And then we can start cubing up our ham into 25mm pieces. And when you have enough swine dice, place them into a foil tray. It's shout out time, and this week's shout out has to go to a guy on YouTube called Laurent Jeff Dubious. Now, I do hope I pronounced your name correctly there, Jeff. On an old Rack of Lamb video of mine, you commented, childish attitude and plastic cutting board. I'll pass. Thanks, Jeff. I'll file what you said away for later review. If you'd like to feature in a shout out in a future video, it's easy. Just make a stupid comment like Jeff did.
My name's Jeff.
Next up, we need to season these cubes of porky goodness by making our own rub that is sweet with a little bit of heat. Now, we don't want to be using a rub that is heavy on salt. In fact, I don't want to use a rub that has salt in it at all, as the ham is salty enough as it stands. So, you will need a rub shaker. The shaker alone won't work. You'll have to add a few ingredients to it, like a funnel always comes in handy, 4 tablespoons of sweet paprika, 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of coarsely ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of mustard powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Remove the funnel, put the lid back on, and shake it up really well. Glove up because things are about to get messy. And then apply the rub to each side of the cubed ham. Now, I tend to apply my rubs from 30 centimeters above my food. Why? Because what this does is allows the particles in that rub to separate before they hit your food. What does that do? It gives you better coverage all over, and therefore the taste is the same on every piece. You just want to get your gloved up hand in there and mix them all up. Apply some more seasoning and mix them up some more. What you want is you want every side to have some rub on it. That is what we're after. Once they are all evenly covered, you want to place them on a wire rack, but do not throw out the foil pan. We'll reuse that a bit later on. Now, if you aren't taking the time to season your meat properly, now that should be illegal. Never rub a rub, or you'll cause clumping, and no one likes a clumpy rub. We're going to need a glaze to go with these cubes of Christmas goodness a bit later. So, into a small pot, you want to cram the following ingredients. 1/2 cup of pineapple juice, 1/2 cup of cherry juice, 1/3 cup of maple syrup, 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. Add this to a low flame, and you want to stir it continuously for 15 minutes. What this will do is allow all those flavors to meld together. It will reduce a little and thicken. And then after 15 minutes, you can remove it from the heat. Today, I'm going to be using a 57 centimeter Weber kettle, and I'm going to be utilizing the snake method and Heat Beads original briquettes. These are perfect for low and slow, as I want to be cooking or smoking at temps of around 150 degrees Celsius today. Now, how I'll do this is by carefully stacking briquettes in the Weber around the outside of the charcoal grill, taking my time to stack the briquettes as neat as possible. This way you'll get a much more even burn. And this setup is called the 2x1 snake. As you can see, I have 2 rows of briquettes on the bottom, and now I'm adding the top row. Then I'll add 14 briquettes to a chimney starter and light them up. And once they're all lashed over, I'll add them to one side of the snake to act like a fuse. I'll place the tray that we used earlier, as these cubes might make a little bit of a mess. And then I'll put a couple of chunks of cherry wood on the snake, but I'm going to leave a gap of 50 ml between each one, as wood burns quicker than the charcoal. So if you have the pieces of wood touching, you're going to get massive spikes of heat during the cook. You will get small spikes as the charcoal hits each piece of timber. That's fine, it's to be expected. Don't stress about it. Don't forget to carefully put your grill back in place. Now pop the lid back on, making sure the vents are wide open and that lid vent is on the opposite side of our lit fuel. Unlike me, you can use a thermometer probe attached to your grill to track your barbecue's temperature more accurately. I tend to just lick my finger and touch the barbecue. Now, once our temp gets around 30 degrees Celsius off our target temp of 150 degrees Celsius, close down the bowl vent to roughly a quarter open. Now the temp will keep climbing, but it will slow down and it should settle on our target temp. Once your temp in your Weber has been stable for 30 minutes, it's time to put your food in. Now cooking time for this recipe will be 1 hour and 30 minutes. Or for those of you who like to use my beer timer, you're looking at a 3-beer cook. Cheers! Once the barbecue is at temp, we can place the tray of cubed up Christmas goodness straight on, putting it on the opposite side of the lit fuel. Getting the lid back on as quickly as possible, making sure that lid vent is again on the opposite side of our lit fuel. That way we're drawing the heat and the smoke over our hammy goodness. We're going to come back and check this in 1 hour. If you don't like using beers as a timer, get out. You know where the door is. No one needs your sort of negativity around a barbecue. We're an hour into the cook and we need to check on these cubes of happiness. Smoky and smelling delicious, but we are far from done. Remove the rack from the barbecue, add the cubes of ham into a clean foil tray, and then top with that warmed up glaze that we made earlier, plus 100 grams of unsalted butter. And now make sure it is unsalted butter. We do not need to be adding any more salt to this recipe. Now just get your hands dirty and you want to mix it all up and make sure all of the little cubes of ham are covered in that glaze. And place the tray back in the barbecue. Pop the lid back on, making sure that lid vent is over our food. You know why. And we're going to give this another 30 minutes. Did you just gulp? I won't judge you if you did. Just get them out of the barbecue and add 1/3 cup of honey. Mix that in. And the reason I don't put the honey in at the same time as it went into the barbecue, just because there is so much sugar in this, we just don't want it to burn. This honey now is just going to add a nice thicker, stickier element to these little Christmas burnt ends. And then just put them onto a serving tray and be careful because you might lose a finger. These go really quick. Perfection in a small cube of holiday happiness. And the results, super tasty, nice and sweet with a little bit of heat and super moist. Smut!